as close to a runway as a ground is likely to get. You're watching Mooswaldstadion profiles, and this is SC Freiburg's Mooswaldstadion. Freiburg's new build sits in the Brühl district, part of the city's northwest edge. It sits immediately west of the local airport. Its traditional Mooswaldstadion name is taken from the neighbouring Mooswald district. Commercially at the time of writing, however, it is more commonly known as Europa Park Stadion, a sponsorship deal struck with the popular theme park around 35 kilometres north of the stadium near the border with France. The Mooswaldstadion serves as the successor to SC Freiburg's former home, the Dreiesamstadion. Named for the nearby Dreisam River, it's a ground near the eastern edge of the city, which dates back to 1953. The stadium became a handy home to Freiburg post-war, experiencing both top league and lower league during its nearly 70 years of senior football use. By the mid-2000s, the Dreiesamstadion had a domestic capacity of 24,000, but was no longer deemed to meet the requirements of a modern German stadium. Not only was its pitch too small in size, but there was a notable gradient of almost a full metre between the southern goal and the northern goal. Freiburg were only allowed to continue to use the stadium through a special permit, but needed to find a new ground within the coming years. Several sites have been proposed by the early 2010s, and the one ultimately selected would be a site named Wolfswinkel, immediately adjacent to the airport. Transport connections and the open space to develop a surrounding training ground were seen as the justifiable reasons for selecting the site. Initial permission to build a new stadium was approved by Freiburg residents in 2015, with the building permit granted 3 years later. The original hope was to have the stadium completed by August 2020, in time for the 20-21 season. Effects of the COVID-19 pandemic made this date not possible, however, and it would instead take a further year and 2 months until official opening on the 7th of October 2021. Whilst the exterior was all complete in time for the 21-22 Bundesliga season, the interior still required completion and delayed the opening. That opening date coincided with an international break, meaning that Freiburg's first game at the ground was a friendly match against SC St. Pauli, a 3-0 win. Its first Bundesliga game would come 9 days later, a 1-1 draw with RB Leipzig, though this game had to take place on a new pitch as the originally laid surface hadn't grown properly. SC Freiburg had continued to use the Dreiesamstadion during the relocation and construction process, playing their final game there on the 26th of September 2021, a 3-0 win over SC Augsburg, their 360th total game in the eastern part of the city. The Dreiesamstadion does still remain in use today, serving as the home for the lower league SC Freiburg 2, as well as the SC Freiburg women's team. The Mooswaldstadion sits as the centrepiece of a complex which includes training facilities immediately south and a university site beyond here. Its main access road from the north is named Suwon Alley, named for the South Korean city of Suwon, a sister city with Freiburg in Breisgau since 2015. The stadium complex can be accessed by footpaths and bike routes, as well as via a nearby bus station, with hopes to also utilise the neighbouring airport for easier away team travel. The stadium itself is a rectangular build with a standout exterior feature being its diagonal steel supports. The canopy has around 170 LED floodlights built into it, and the ground as a whole is purposely made to be no taller than 25 metres to aid air traffic immediately beside it. Between May and July 2022, the stadium was fitted with one of the largest solar panelled systems in Europe, allowing the Mooswaldstadion to generate a large amount of its own power. Inside, the stadium has a modern feel with 2-tiered steep stands and a main stand which sits over to the west. The exception is the popular south stand, a single-tiered terrace which can hold around 9,000 vocal Freiburg supporters. The designated away section, for around 3,500 people, is located around the stadium's northeast corner. Germany finally played their first game at the Mooswaldstadion in November 2024, a UEFA Nations League match against Bosnia and Herzegovina, which they won 7-0. Capacity at the time of writing sits at 34,700. Have you had the chance to experience the Mooswaldstadion before? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the Matchday Man for more stadium profiles like this one. I'll see you then.